Look at the time, it's 8 o'clock with Rob Hunter.
Rob Hunter. Please welcome to the stage your first guest, Hannah Gadsby. No music. Look, no music. Thanks. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
No, my pleasure.
We are very excited to have you, in part because last year you were due to visit us, but you had a little accident, didn't you?
I did.
You did?
I did.
You had an accident. You sustained an injury to your face?
My head.
All right, that was a guess.
Yeah.
That's a guess. And when I heard you were in the emergency room last year, it was really upsetting. I was really upset. I didn't know what was wrong with you, how badly injured you were, and I was really upset because I had put a lot of work into that interview. Do you understand?
I do.
Let's talk about you. You are 36?
Yes.
And originally from a town called Smithton.
Correct.
Yep. And I know that because you have a great joke where you say, "I'm from Smithton," and you point at your vagina. That's your joke, isn't it?
There's a bit more to it than
well,
that.
We don't have time to explain all your jokes. Have you ever heard that if you need to explain a joke, it's probably not that well written? Anyway, I'm not saying that applies here, but that's just because I'm polite.
Okay.
So, you married? Kids or anything?
No, I can't get married.
You can't get married?
No.
You are being too hard on yourself? You are a fun catch. In fact, Jason's actually single. So.
Hey.
Yeah, thanks. I'm gay.
Really? I'm gay too.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm gay as well.
You're not gay, Jason. You're just lonely. Like,
I get that confused too.
Here's something I wanted to bring up with you, and something you sort of touched on in your stand-up set. I follow you on Twitter, and you can too, at Hannah Gadsby. Can I read out some of my favourite tweets of yours?
Sure.
Great. Is it normal to wear odd socks? It's a good question. I left a dirty dish in the sink at work. Just killing it. October 16, I have nothing to say. Very dry wit. That is. Here's one. Before James Bond got his license to kill, I bet he had to practice in shopping centre car parks with his parents. It's actually pretty funny. That's one of mine. So, it's, at Rob Hunter Swords. But the reason, though, that I follow you on Twitter isn't the jokes. Luckily, it's because you get involved in Twitter feuds a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
That's a real thing, and it's quite entertaining. This time last year, you were in one with a high-profile former football personality turned comedian of sorts. Do you remember?
Ricky Nixon.
Yeah. That one got quite heated, and around the same time, you were also in some online trouble with some prostitutes.
I was.
True.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you got in trouble with them for running out on a bill?
No. No, a lady always pays. No, I used the term prostitute, and apparently that's not the right term.
Oh, okay.
Sex worker.
I think I did that earlier. We're all learning here. Anyway, you seem to get drawn into things on Twitter. You seem to find it very hard to ignore people when they reach out to you, even if it's in a slightly negative sense.
Oh,
Would you say
only
that's...
when it's negative.
Okay.
If they're being nice, I ignore them.
Yeah. And I know this to be true because last year, as part of my preparation and research for the show, I actually started a Twitter account called @HannahStinks1. @HannahStinks was taken. I don't know if that's anything to do with you, but I want to explain what happened because I think it's a really good insight into the world of social media, particularly from the perspective of someone who's in the public eye, like yourself. So the backstory is Hannah was due to appear on the show on a Monday, and on the Friday preceding that, @HannahStinks1 tweeted their first tweet, "Hey, @Hannah Gadsby, nice face." So fairly innocuous. You have very graciously replied, "Thanks, my new friend." Good start. Could have been a compliment. So I was very impressed by your response. Less impressed is @HannahStinks1, who replies with, "I'm not your friend, you turkey." And again, this time you reply, but with, "Are you trolling my friend?" Which again, very calm and considered. And just to explain, things intensify shortly, but I was careful not to attack you in a personal way, or a way that could be legitimately considered upsetting, because I believe cyberbullying is a very real thing, and I didn't want to upset anybody genuinely. I actually attract a certain amount of negative online comment myself, so I know it's not always nice to deal with.
In fact, I've got some with me right now.
Well, we don't have time for...
I think Rob Hunter needs to redefine what he considers comedy. That's a good one.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
It is people like him who make my faith in humanity plummet.
That's online somewhere?
Rob, you are a fucktard. Fucktard is in capital.
Well, it's not even a real word, so joke's on them.
The interviewer reminds me why people commit genocide. That's
I feel that one's over the line, to be honest.
And Rob Hunter is to comedy as fire is to the human face.
That's an old one. Those are all on my YouTube channel. Anyway, at this point, I start to get a bit impatient because you're replying with polite grace, but I'm under some pretty strict time constraints with the show. So @HannahStinks1 posted something I was confident would get a different response, and that was in a tweet riddled with spelling mistakes. "If we was friends, I'd smash myself in the face with a brick because that is how demented I'd have to be." And this is when things escalate because you retweet this, and boy howdy do your followers respond. Sharon writes, "Sounds like they already have a brain injury." Not true. Nathan writes, "Lol, with spelling like that, I hope he does smash himself in the face with a brick." Bit mean, yeah. Someone has written, "I've always wanted a batshit insane adversary, but I've never been famous enough to attract one." Interestingly, Miss D has written, "I would have expected you would attract a more literate class of troll. Shame?" So that one's sort of insulting you as well as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember this?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Some celebrities weigh in your defence. Tony Martin writes, "Correct spelling too, apparently stinks." And it was around this time I thought I probably shouldn't have done this. But then @HannahStinks1 gained a follower, and that encouraged me to continue. I'd also like to point out that @HannahStinks1's profile states, "My name is Curtis Snowball. I work with the deaf and volunteer part-time at a local soup kitchen. I enjoy caring for my amazing intellectually disabled brother Dylan."
I had to tread very carefully.
Yes. So that was just kind of a curveball to see if it would temper your response. And that question is more or less answered you by the next piece of your correspondence when you respond to something by saying, "I bet your soup is awful." Anyway, there are a couple more comments, and at this point I get a very nasty letter from Twitter, and my account gets suspended, which was a thing I didn't even know that could happen. And I learned a few things from this exercise. Firstly, I thought you and your fans handled things very well, very polite and dignified, very diplomatic. But the whole thing I found was just kind of a reminder that you shouldn't take things on social media at face value. You shouldn't judge somebody based on their social media profile. And I think you're a perfect example of that, because you're a certain way on Twitter, but in real life you're actually quite entertaining.
Is this an interview? Do you actually ask questions?
It's not really that kind of show. You've been a great guest. You're doing a show called Hannah Gadsby, the Exhibitionist, in the Town Hall at 7 o'clock from tomorrow till Saturday, 6 o'clock Sunday, and nominated for the Barry.
Last year.
No, last year, sorry.
Wrong show.
Last year.
Not this year. No, it's
but
slightly
this
shitter this year.
Well, it's still a bit shitter, but still going well enough well enough to be charging up to and including $37.50 for a ticket.
I can't afford, mate.
And that's $37.50. That's for a family of. That's one person. I see. Very fair amount of money, but just a warning to people who might prefer to spend that amount of money on perhaps seeing 2 or 3 shows and using whatever money's left over to go out to dinner or. We've very much enjoyed having you here, and to show our appreciation, we actually, with the help of Jason, we've organised a little fruit hamper for you as a gift. So where have you put that?
It's just under your desk.
Okay. You are a fucking idiot. That's for you. Hannah Gadsby, ladies and gentlemen.
That was the time, it was 8 o'clock with Rob Hunter.